know that you were all expecting to see some more customs from 2007. Unfortunately, I can't seem to find them. I brought them down from the loft in order to do the master, because that's where they were kept, and I put them down in my room, and I can only seem to find 2 at the moment, well 3, including the Brigadier. The only other 2 I could find was my 3rd Doctor and my TV movie 7th Doctor, which I made back in 2007. I do have an 8th Doctor, a Raston Warrior robot, a work-in-progress Sensorite, which I never finished, and Captain Jack in his big grey coat, RAF uniform, one from Series 1, that I also made. They're around somewhere, but I will make sure that I find them for you for next week. I think I must have put them back up in the loft for some reason, so I'll have a look for that over the weekend. In the meantime, here is the Brigadier custom, which you've all seen in Symbiosis. Who doesn't want to stand up? He was made in 2007. He was probably the last custom that I did. Well, the last one that I started to do was the Sensorite, but I never finished it. But this was the last one that I actually completed. I've had a lot of requests to talk about this figure and show you how I did it. So I thought, well, okay then, I'll just talk you through what I did. So, the base for the figure is Captain Jack from Series 1, in the RAF uniform. This figure had a few modifications, not much, but a fair old bit. The first thing I started with was the collar. Now, as you all know, the Captain Jack figure has the collar of his, sort of like his RAF jumpsuit and that sort of cravat. Well, that wasn't going to be any good for the brig, so what I did was, I'll just zoom in for you all, the collar here is actually the collar from the actual Captain Jack. But what I did was I chiselled it down slightly, and the neckerchief, the cravat, or whatever you want to call it, chiselled that down. Then I added a small, very thin sheet of milliput over that. Then I added the tiny bit of tie there, and then another piece on top of that for the knot. And then on either side, I added 2 little triangles for the collar of the shirt. Then on top of that, I added some more milliput to sculpt the lapels of the Brigadier's jacket. And it's probably as accurate as you could hope to get, really. And then I added the badges on either side with milliput, and then added 2 small pieces which were painted silver for the buttons. So that was the first thing that I began with. The second and the most sort of fiddly thing was the extension of the brig's jacket. Now, his jacket is long. It goes right down past his hips. I made this with full knowledge that he wasn't going to be able to bend his hips. Kind of like what I had to do with Jamie. So, if you do it and want it to be accurate, like I tried to do, he won't be able to bend his hips, unfortunately. But, I mean, he's still got the knee articulation and things, so just have to make sure he doesn't ever need to sit down. That was milliput sort of wrapped around like a skirt, and then a chunk cut out, and then up the top to give it the sort of fold of the jacket. Then I added sort of a rectangle on either side. Then I added a piece over the top of that, and I sculpted it into the shape, which is the same as the shapes up for his pockets. So I did that. Then I added 2 thin strips there and there to create to finish off the pocket, and then I added the buttons. Then from there, I created the belt. Now the belt doesn't hinder the waist articulation too much. I'll explain that in a sec. That was actually done over the waistline, so the actual join between waist and crotch is there, so it's quite nice to do. That was just a strip of milliput all the way around, holes sculpted in, and the sort of end of the belt and the buckle, all done with milliput. Then onto the belt, I made the holster. The holster is again made from milliput, just with that cut in and a button put on top. Then I did the belt going across his chest. Again, that was with milliput, and it just sort of ended part way through there and over there. That was quite easy. Then the next sort of fiddly thing was the Briggs hat. Now, I suppose you could use the more recent Woolworths, well, Woolworths doesn't exist anymore, unless you can find it on eBay. The old Woolworths exclusive Captain Jack, which actually did come with a cap. It isn't exactly how the Briggs cap is, though. I mean, you could use it if you wanted to. It would be a lot easier, and you could have a hatless brig as well. Unfortunately, at the time I made this, there was no Captain Jack with removable cap. So this hat was actually made from milliput, just using reference photos, and it's pretty much exact in sort of shape and size. The badge on the front, that was just done with milliput. There is no proper insignia sort of done in. It's just a couple of scratches with a pin, just to make it look like there's something on there. And from far back, it looks like it could be the proper insignia. And then that was just painted. A bit fiddly, but I think it works pretty well. The tash was 2 pieces of milliput. I went for the earlier version of the Briggs moustache, the sort of 2 separate pieces, although like a bit of fluff in the middle. So that was just 2 pieces of milliput, just stuck onto his face. The last thing that I did was add the badges and any more buttons that needed doing. So on here, going down, and on there, of course, on there. These badges are very close to the actual colour scheme on the Brigadier's jacket. Not exact, but very close as I could hope to get it. And that was basically it. The green colour is entirely accurate. I went into Hobbycraft with a few reference photos and just stood looking at the paints and going, right, which one looks closest? The shoes were then repainted brown, which was the same brown for the belt buckle and the holster and everything. 2 shades of greeny, sort of yellowy, browny green for the shirts and tie. One for the shirt, a lighter colour, the tie was slightly darker. And that's basically it, really. I also painted his hair black on the back, because I think Jack's got quite brownish hair, but I wanted it to be a bit darker, and I redid the eyebrows, because I think the face got a bit messy, so I had to repaint that a bit as well. And I know there's a few of you out there who want to do a Brigadier custom, so I hope this has helped, and I'll hopefully see you next time with my other customs from 2007. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.